From the moment that I came out with the Strait Path system, I had people questioning me. People wanted to put the system on trial. And when you come out and you say this is the best way to do real estate, you're going to find the haters. You're going to find people coming out of the woodworks and they want to know, well, prove it. And why is this best? And over the years now, I've made my clients tens of millions of dollars. We've done thousands of deals and we have all this proof and we have all this track record. And so when I think about all the interviews I've had over the years, what I wanted to do for you was produce this really powerhouse bonus segment on why the Strait Path system. And what I want to share with you specifically is I want to share with you the 5 most important tips to why this system crushes it compared to anything else. And then I want to share with you the 5 pitfalls that you want to avoid. And for some of you, just learning about one of these could literally save your family. And so I'm going to share all of this with you right now. Now, when we start talking about the tips of why the Strait Path, I want to start with that. Like, why, first of all, do I even call it the Strait Path to Real Estate Wealth? So the title of the book is actually a biblical reference to the fact that there are many paths that lead to heaven, but many of them are crooked paths and many of them actually don't make it. And when I started my journey into real estate investing, one of the things that I quickly learned was that there were many ways of making money in real estate, but not everyone really was able to do all the due diligence to find out all the pros and cons, all the strengths and weaknesses. And for me, it was like it put me on a mission. Why would you do anything with real estate unless you understood all of the strategies? And yet, who's really got time for that? No one has time for that. So this inference to the Strait Path basically says there's a lot of ways you can make money in real estate, but there's got to be a core way that is best. And so what I did is I came up with the criteria that were important to me. You know, sometimes I talk about in writing the book that I developed an algorithm that would ultimately help me take this book. And if I was going to argue that this was the singular best way of doing real estate, then I better be able to back it up by something. And I did. I backed it up by cold, hard math. And that math can ultimately be found in 6 core criteria. I wanted to know best in relation to something that was going to require the least time, the least effort, so it could be hard or easy or difficult, something that was going to require the least risk. And then there were a couple other things that I valued. I wanted to know something that could work in both up and down markets, because guess what happened in 2008? We skyrocketed. But why? Why aren't we losing everything like everybody else? And then I wanted to know what would actually provide a meaningful service to people. And then lastly, you can guess, had to be profitable, right? And not just profitable, it had to be in relative to the rest of these, it had to be the most profitable. And so the Strait Path basically said there's got to be a best mathematical way. And this system of doing lease options coined under compassionate financing is a twist on lease option that takes less time than rentals, it takes less effort than flips, it takes less risk than most real estate strategies, it survives and thrives no matter what the market is doing, and it provides a valuable service to people that want home ownership. They want that American dream, even when a bank says no, and then has to be the most profitable. So as you read the book and as you go through it, my recommendation is for you to put it on trial and ask, wait a second, does this really make sense? Just feel free to question it, because that's what I did. And not a lot of people got it when I questioned them about flips and rentals and these other strategies. If you're going to do something, then you should do something that matters. You should do something that counts. And that's why the Strait Path system. So know your criteria, know what's important to you. Next is, what really makes this different than other real estate strategies that are out there? You know, when you get in the game of real estate, one of the core problems that you're going to be faced with is that there's so much to learn and you can't learn it all, so you have to specialize. And I can't emphasize that enough. Specialization really comes down to your ability to go as deep as you can on one way. Like, I can make money in real estate other ways, but every time I veer from that straight path, there's a problem. I have to redevelop my track record all over again. And so one of the things that's different is, number one, I say that the Strait Path is for beginners. Anyone who has never made their first dollar in real estate on up to wanting to make their first $100 million. You could switch over to multifamily or you could switch over to other strategies, but frankly, This is not just for beginners. This is for someone that wants to retire financially free. So this system is not it's not just like a stepping stone. It is a full consummate from start to finish system. The next thing that really makes it different is having a value system. There's a lot of real estate strategies out there where it's just about taking advantage of people. I mean, you've heard of ambulance chasing, right? Like, look where there's smoke, look where there's fires, and then try to make money there. In fact, that's one of the problems with lease option is that people will buy a house and then instead of just getting a basic down payment, they're looking for someone who's going to put down $20,000 or $50,000 or more that actually will never qualify or buy the home. That's the instinct that they get, and they want to take advantage of those people. And you'll never sustainably create wealth as long as you aren't backed by a value system of creating value and helping people. And so when I look at really what's different here is that how can we make a difference in the world while we're also becoming financially free? And it's all the way for people that are beginners, all the way forward to people that want a plan to really retire or quit their job or do something that's really more meaningful. So I would say those are the biggest differences than really anything else that's out there. The next one that I get hit with over and over again is how risky really is real estate? I mean, I think if I were sitting there, if Oprah were still running her daytime show and if I were invited on the show, Oprah would probably say, but I mean, real estate is risky, Kris, right? And to that I have to say yes. I mean, technically, if you can lose even $1, you need to say that there's what? You have to say that there's risk. But if you take a look at what really is risky, because that's what this question is, for just a moment, look at 401ks, look at IRAs, look at stocks. This is the world's retirement plan right now. Modern day pension almost doesn't exist, and it's been replaced with you be your own pension. You put your money in the 401k and the IRA, and by the way, you should also try to pay off your house. I was super fortunate as a college kid. I got the benefit of being a voyeur into people's lives through this telemarketing company where I would be talking to people all day long that had worked for the system. Society's game plan of get good grades, get a piece of paper that says you're smart, go work for somebody else, do it for 40 years. And when I would talk to these people, here's what I would find out. There's two types of people financially on this planet. You have those that make a lot, and you have those that make a little. And then you have people that are spenders, and you have those that are savers. Now, guess what the most powerful combination is here? It's going to be someone who makes a lot and someone who's a saver. Now, I got to see what happened to spenders that made little money. They're always broke. And then I got to look at savers who made a little money. They were just better off than broke. But the people who made a lot and spent a lot of money, guess what? They had nothing to show. They just had a more expensive lifestyle, like bigger risk. But the people who made a lot and saved a lot, tell me about them. I want to share with you what I learned about them. By the time these people were 65 years old, they'd been out of college for over 30, 40 years. They had been working a job that entire time, and being savers, they'd put money in 401ks, IRAs, and stocks, and they usually had somewhere between $200,000 and $400,000. And then their house was often paid off. Now, I just want to be clear. This represents the top 1 or 2%, which means very, very, very few people where the people that made a lot were savers to the extent that they could do this. Now, let's talk about risk in real estate and first compare it to society's game plan. This person, if they're living off of $70,000 a year and they save $300,000 and have a paid off house, then when they retire at 65, how long can they really retire? If they maintain their same standard of living, then this $300,000 in the stock market, it's going to be exhausted in somewhere right around 4 years. Now, can you imagine having been a penny pincher and a great saver? There were trips that you didn't take that the spenders did. You could have lived in a nicer house, but you didn't. And now in 4 years of retirement, you exhausted all your savings. What do you have to do then? Your beloved house that you worked so hard to pay off because you're so debt averse, you now have to do a reverse mortgage, or you have to sell it and you have to move into a condo, and that's going to last you a couple more years. Now, fortunately, modern day medicine has you living a really long time. So you've got to live like a couple more decades, and yet you have nothing left. What happens to someone who made a lot, who is a good saver, that winds it all down in a matter of years? Depression, sadness, working when they're no longer very marketable in the workforce, and ultimately crotchety, like becoming, like ending the last years of your life as a negative human being. When I designed this whole real estate system, you need to understand, it's risky because it's inviting you to invest money and you can lose money. I just wanted to be really clear on what the biggest risk really is. The greatest risk, the greatest threat to you is following society's broken game plan. You can't accumulate enough in a working life. Do you see this? That's the problem. So now, compared to that, is real estate risky? Yeah. But the greatest risk is what? It's not taking your shot. It's not making your move. It's doing nothing. And doing nothing will lead to no things. All your things will be gone if you do nothing. So, how risky is real estate? Well, this one gives you a shot and this one doesn't. So you tell me which one is riskier. Beyond that, how risky really is real estate? Well, check this out. We're talking about accumulation. And if you want to know something far less risky, the way that you save yourself, in other words, you can't save enough money by just being a good hard worker. If you get a degree and you become an excellent saver and you try to make as much as you cannot accumulate yourself to freedom. So this ultimately doesn't work. That's the Jeopardy answer. But the investor mindset is not based on how many millions or hundreds of thousands you set aside. Do you know what this is based on? This is based on a different technology. It's based on residual income. Now, when I do my compassionate financing system, I get benefited in 3 ways on every home. The first benefit that I get is I get paid $5,000 and I get paid up front. Now, this is cool because who wants to wait years to get rewarded when you can get rewarded now? The second thing is, on average, we're talking about $500 a month of a residual income. So imagine having 10 homes. That's $5,000 a month. It doesn't matter what you're worth. I mean, let me ask you even right now. I want to ask you this question. I've asked people all over the globe. I could either give you $1 million right now, or I could give you $10,000 every month for the rest of your life. Which is choose? Like, which one would you take? I'm going to have to ask my lucky dog here, because when I play Monopoly, I always play with the dog, and the dog wins 89% of the time. It's like my genie in the lamp. Do you know what dog says? Dog says, don't take the $1 million. Do you know why? It'll run out. You're in an accumulation mindset. You will pay off your house and then you won't get a residual income. You eliminate your debts, it won't give you residual income. And what you have left, you're going to put into 401ks or IRAs that'll pay you 4% when right now, if you look at inflation, we're losing at 3%. You're almost making nothing on your invested money, which means that you have built up all this money and you're going to spend it until it's gone. Take the $10,000 a month for the rest of your life, which means you need to do how many deals if you want 10 grand a month? 20 deals. So what if the purpose of your life for your retirement was just accumulating 20 properties? And what if you learned how to do that without money or credit? That's why people join my personal 5K club. They actually want into my private real estate community so I can show them with or without money how to acquire assets that pay $5 grand up front, $500 each month along the way, and then when you eventually sell it, you get tens of thousands of dollars. So accumulation versus the investor mindset, this to me also answers the last question, way less risky. Who can actually do this? Last question that I get asked, right? When it comes to my top tips for why the Strait Path system, why I wrote the book, this is the information that goes beyond the book. Here's what I want to tell you. What I love about real estate is it doesn't care if you're young or old. It also doesn't care if you are rich or broke. And lastly, it doesn't care if you are smart or stupid. And I just want to talk about stupid for a moment. Dude, everyone in life has different strengths. I really wanted to be a doctor, but I never could have been one because chemistry, dude, science does, it's the subject that comes the least natural to me. But I love math. I love statistics. In fact, this is a freaky place. Like I'm calculating stats on everything when I'm driving. When am I going to get there? You ever play that game of like guessing when you're going to be there? Dude, it's very hard for anyone to beat Kris Krohn. Like I have an autistic brain in there somewhere, something that goes bump in the night that just gets this stuff. But I'm totally stupid in other areas of life that other people value. So real estate, it doesn't care about these things. That's why I started at 22 and I became financially free at 26. I was young. There was a lot of people in several areas of my life that told me I was stupid. And I wasn't just broke. I was starting worse than broke. I was starting deep in debt. So I just want you to understand that who can actually do this? Well, let's take a look at this. Doesn't matter if you're old or young, rich or poor. Doesn't matter whether you're smart or stupid. I would say that this is something that anyone can do.